Alright, hello everyone. So today I just want to talk about some minor tips in Escape from Tarkov that maybe just help you out a little bit. Then this is obviously what I've learned in about 107 hours of the game. Um so we're gonna talk about that. There will be no gameplay tips like no actually what like gunfights or anything like that. It's just gonna be like minor things like stash space and talking about keybinds, and this thing is to help out generally from like I said, from what I've learned in my 107 hours of gameplay. So let's get right into it. So first of all, you're gonna notice that I am a bit of a hoarder. I understand. I know that a lot of people take pride in freeing up a lot of space, having a lot of things. I also don't have the biggest edition of the game, which does make a difference, but that's besides the point. Let's get right into it. Um, so if you need more space, generally like the standard edition or whatever, and you're going on a scav run, do not be afraid to put gear on, even if you're not going to run it immediately, or put gear in your gear, have extra guns on, etc. Don't forget to take them off, but just put it on, and then you have more space to mess around with your scav loot and deal with that afterwards. Secondly, take gun handles and magazines out of your gun. So here we have an M4A1, and you notice it's a two it's a 2x5, and sometimes this takes up a little bit too much space, and you can actually change that by going in here and taking the grip off, and if you see that now it's no longer it's no longer a 2, it's just a 5, like a 1x5, and you can just drag it up and move the space up, and you can even move these grips if you want to a different location, in bags or rigs or somewhere else in the stash if you feel like it. And then store your magazine somewhere else as well, because magazines can extend the size of these items. Some magazines will actually make them 3s, even bigger. This one, not so much. If we were to put this in here, we'd have to unfold the stock. I don't believe we took it. If we take this off, it's still a 2 because the magazine is still in there. So that's really important. This can actually save you a lot of space. Not as much space, but maybe just like horizontally or vertically, depending on where you choose to stash your guns. And it helped my stash by just allowing me to move these guns around more. I like to keep my money up top. It allows me to have more or less I guess wide guns up here. Usually the SKS is up here as well. Another big thing is storing things in your stash, and this is like pretty self-explanatory, but it's something that could help. Don't be afraid to put things in your equipment in the stash. No, try to keep them organized is what I would recommend. Mine don't always stay organized because I'm me. That's just what happens, but try to keep things organized. It's really important that you keep things organized, because if you're looking for a specific thing, at least you know where to go for it. You're gonna get a lot of items in Escape from Tarkov, and when you need these items, you need to know where to look for them. And it's a big game of just manipulating your space. You're gonna have a lot of starter items, and one of the big things I do recommend is that when you get your hideout leveled up enough to get the generator, put fuel in the generator. You don't necessarily have to use it. But you can just turn it on when you need it, and it'll take up less space in your stash because it'll put those in the generator. Now, another important thing that I like to talk about with the stash is not only is it important to create space by moving things into bags and keeping them organized, but I'd recommend. I know it's really simple, but some people I know will just dump things in their stash and never worry about it. I like to try to keep things in a specific order so you can know where things are, and you can just if you're playing with your friends or you're just trying to get back on the right quickly, you know where to go for what you're looking for. So generally I like to keep my meds and my food on the bottom, and then usually my book bags are about where these ones are, and then and then it'll go like rigs, and then helmets and headsets, and then guns and money are always at the top. You don't necessarily have to do it my way. Like I said, you can do it any way you want. There's gonna be more stash space depending on obviously what variation of the game you have. But yeah, stash is really important in this game, and manipulating it to the best of your advantage is always a good idea. Don't be afraid to sell things either, by the way. Obviously like rigs, backpacks, headsets, helmets, anything. If you feel like you're not going to use it, just feel like don't be afraid to sell it. Um, any of the merchants will buy it. Generally, the best merchants I see to sell things for are therapist, mechanic, and skier. I know like the some people go skier, therapist, mechanic, depending on for what they're trying to sell. Um, that's actually like I said, in my opinion, this is these guys are always gonna buy the best, uh, like sell you the like give you the best bang for your buck for sell. Another important thing for at least new PMCs, don't be afraid of your tasks, and don't be afraid to just not always be able to get them done immediately. So in you're later in the wipe, you're probably these early on tasks. Generally, you won't be bothered doing them because they're probably out of the location of a lot of PvP. So things like checking, just getting a pocket watch out of the truck and customs, that can be a little bit of a high traffic area if you just pay a little bit of attention. You can know if players are there, get in there and get out. Later in the wipe, some people don't even play woods anymore. So this one you might be left alone. You're going into some high traffic areas, so this one's a little bit sketchy, I guess. But some of these things later on, especially some of the therapist quests, you'll be able to complete pretty easily. I started really playing at the end of last wipe, and it seemed like nobody was really picking up meds because you didn't need them anymore, and so you could get these quests done pretty easily. They're also going to boost your leveling, how fast you level up, and how fast you level up doesn't really matter, but your level does matter in the regards of what you can buy from traders. Now, I'm not really high enough level to show you to tier 2 traders, but you can notice that it says next loyalty level, and it provides you with they provide you with new equipment that you can buy. Now, completing tasks also unlocks new equipment that you can buy just from them innately. So if Stirrup will get you this VPO. And yeah, so a lot of the tasks are actually pretty good to complete. You don't have to do in a rush to do them. Just do things at your own pace with this game. This game is a lot to take in at once. And so it can be really helpful. If you're also still new, a great idea to do is go ahead and just go in here, and then you're gonna want to click, not double click. You're gonna want to click your middle mouse button on everything that's uninspected, and double click on all the guns and inspect their parts respectively, and it will boost you maybe just a little bit of XP. Could get you a whole nother level depending on what level you are. I know it took me from like level 2 to almost level 3 at the beginning of the wipe. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the skills. So, I'm not 100% all of these skills, but I can at least tell you how I've seemed to have leveled up. Some of them, pretty simply, and other ones I'm still a little hazy with, so I will not be discussing those. Endurance, you're gonna level this up just by running around. Basically just sprinting, just moving around, playing the game. This one seems to naturally increase by the more you just play the game. Strength seems to be increasing with the more weight you carry, and the longer it feels like you carry that weight. So if you're in a raid with yellow weight for a lot of the raid, and then you escape, your strength is gonna go up. It's not necessarily like guaranteed that it's gonna go up by a lot, but it will go up because you're carrying overweight thing. You're yellow and you're moving around. Moving through the raid. Metabolism seems to just go up from just like eating, drinking, just naturally playing the game. Perception, not really sure how that one goes up. Charisma has to do with trading, so the more you trade with the traders, your charisma skill will go up, and the more your charisma skill goes up, you get more reputation with them, it seems. Now all of the weapon skills are exactly what you think. The more you use specific weapons, the more the skill will increase. That is basically it. I think they give you better stats with the guns. That's it. Some of these things you can't even use. Like I don't think you can use rocket launchers, but that maybe I'm wrong. Recoil control, obviously, I guess it probably has what I would assume would go with shooting an automatic. I think anybody could assume that. And some of these other ones are just like different things. So mag drills, obviously like packing mags and raid. You can level this one up pretty simply by keeping ammo in um your pouch, if you, depending on how big it is and how much space is it consumed by. You just load them into mags when you're safe. Search is obviously increasing your searching speed and is increased what's it called? It's increased by just like searching equipment. All these other ones I'm fairly certain I know what they're for, but I just don't want to be like 100%. Like this one just seems to be like aiming speed. Yep, and this one just has to be like quieter movement. Some of these are like you're not really gonna see that much, but you will use them. There's lots more in here as well. Some of these are just like minor, but we're not gonna talk about those. Mastering is just how much you use a gun. So if you use a gun a lot, you'll have a higher mastery with it, and when you have a higher mastery with that weapon, you get improved stats with it. So I believe if you use a lot of the let's say if you use the AKS 74N, you'll control it better. I believe you'll control it better. You'll do things. It's like you're more familiar with the weapon basically. So you'll reload it faster, control it better, etc. etc. But let's move on past that. So we've talked about storage. We've talked about skills. There's lots of videos about health and how to do all this. I don't want to go into it. So I'm gonna get into an offline raid and then talk about keybinds. So here we are in raid, and now we're gonna talk about keybinds. So do not be afraid to mess around with your keybinds in this game. This game is all about efficiency and finding out what works best for you. So do not be afraid to mess around with your keybinds. Some keybinds that I can recommend potentially changing. Lean left and lean right. I flip-flop these, and I will explain why. So, when you're fighting a player, and let's say you want to get a right angle peek, you're not generally going to be stepping back you're not going to want to be stepping to the left. You're going to want to be stepping to the right and smoothly pan a corner. So if we're on this rock, I'm not going to peek this and then hold this, generally. But if there's a player there, I want to smoothly clear it. I can easily use my finger on the Q key and use my other finger on the D key to move right. And same thing goes for left side, even though I would highly advise against doing left side peeks in the current moment because of how much they leave you exposed. So let's go to the next keybind. Another one that I would recommend changing or setting to like a mouse button perhaps is the switch between sights and change scope magnification. I'd recommend changing those to your mouse buttons. I don't have them on this gun in particular, but what they'll let you do is if you have a gun with like a scope, like a red dot on top of your scope, or like an iron sight, you can swap quickly. Or if you have a gun with a magnification, you can be like zoomed in or zoom out freely if need be. Let's see, what else? Another one that would be good to change. First of all, by the way, if you see this, it doesn't mean like actually like scroll down, by the way. This means like actually just pushing down on your mouse wheel. Just to make that very clear. Let's see. They switch firing modes. You can leave them both on B. I double tap mine a lot. You can set it so double tap is B, double tap is fully auto, or you can change it around. But generally I just leave those the same. Double tap for full auto. Double tap B for full auto, that is, I guess. My hold breath is left shift. This will be naturally set to left alt. I'm just more used to other games where you have a hold breath being set to shift. You cannot do both continuous even if you do sprint, because sprint is naturally set to press. I set mine to continuous. So when I'm aiming down sights, I can just press left shift and he'll hold his breath for me, and I can do what I'm gonna do. But I believe there's one very important one that I changed. that my attention was brought to via one peg. So one of the things in this game that is going to happen to you inevitably, I don't know that it'll happen with this gun. Yeah, it won't happen with this gun. It's at 99. Is that your gun is going to jam. It's going to have a malfunction. And you have to inspect your gun first, so you can identify the malfunction. What I recommend doing is setting them both to L. So if we come in here, you'll see that inspect current weapon is L, and it's on press. You're gonna want to find check chamber / fix malfunction and set it to release. And what this allows you to do is instead you can hit L, keep moving, but what you want to do is you want to hold it instead. So you want to hold L, and he will fix generally the malfunction after doing that. Instead of you having to do a whole bunch of like shift T, I think is what it is naturally. Then another one that I recommend changing is your reload. So everybody knows naturally in Tarkov, your reload is most shooters you just press R, your character reloads. Pretty self-explanatory. But let's say you're in an emergency situation and you want to reload fast. Well, one of the things in this game is your keybind will naturally be set. Your keybind will naturally set to double tap R, and depending on what you have your double click timeout time, it'll pause how long until you actually fast reload your weapon. What I recommend doing, actually, in my opinion, is a smarter thing to do, is if you're going to fast reload, set regular reload to press R, and then set fast reload to hold R. And what that'll allow you to do is just to do your natural reload, but keep moving. And it's still the same key, there's no double tap input, no delay, everything will be natural. So another thing I guess I could bring up while we're in raid real quick. For new players is middle mousing over foldable weapons will fold the stock. That's a minor thing that I guess I could add in here. But yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about. Not like I said, I didn't want to go into like actual things you should be doing in raids or like fights to improve. I don't feel comfortable at this time talking about that. It's gonna be way down the line. Yeah, just minor things. Maybe to help somebody, just do this, that, and the other. I know that I've only got 107 hours, and I completely understand. But feel free if you have any other advice that you just want to get out there. I didn't cover it, and you just want to be like, hey, this is just something to add to the video. Go ahead and leave it in the comments. And I will go ahead and pin it or thumbs it up, whatever. Get so other people can see that somebody out there recommended it, and we can just give more people more information. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna be making more Tarkov content. I'll be streaming tomorrow, and yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later. Peace.